Hey everyone, Ken McCall at the Jazz Vinyl Audiophile back again to make a little video about audio gear and asking the question, can you get high-end sound from low-end cash? It's kind of a teeter-totter thing. What does high-end mean to you and what does low-end cash mean to you? When I was a kid, growing up in the mid-70s, it was a really big deal to us to go to a friend's house. I had one friend who had large electrostatic speakers and a high-end turntable at the time, and Quicksilver amplifiers, I think they were. And we put on King Crimson, or back then it was a Bill Bruford record or something, or Gino Vanelli, and just flip. That was our thing. We focused on the sound. We might smoke a joint and sit there and listen to the music, but it meant a lot to us because a couple of us were aspiring musicians, a couple of us were aspiring dope heads, and that music was all important to us. We didn't have all the distractions that are available now in every digital format available. But that way of listening, serious listening, critical listening, music first audiophile, carries on to today for me, obviously, because I review high-end audio gear. But there's a misconception I see among people that think, A, you have to spend tons of money to get good quality sound, or B, you're just an idiot to do that. You're arrogant. You think you hear better than someone else. You have golden ears. You know, in audio, like everything else, you get what you pay for. If you want to buy a Bose Wave radio, or or move up to the line to Sonos, or move up to something like a Blue Sound, those are all inexpensive systems to get somewhere. I know even Lynn makes a compact all-in-one speaker, streamer, yada, yada, yada. But for my money, you can't beat good separates to handle each part of the audio chain. Turntable, CD player, perhaps a network server, a good integrated amplifier and speakers, be they floor standers, like these Forte 3 down here you can't see, or these Quad S2s, which you also can't see. I reviewed these for Stereophile about a year ago. For $1,000, I think the best stand mount monitor you can get. And behind me we have a Cambridge Audio CD player from the 90s, which you can get for $250. Great sound with the remote. This is one of a pair of ELAC B6 monitors, which cost $279 a pair. And this is a HiD integrated amplifier, or a HiD integrated amplifier. This cost about $12.95. $12.95, oh my God, are you crazy? You know, how much does the music matter to you? You will hear from your system and from your playback preference, be it CD or streaming or vinyl, however much you put into the playback chain. And everything around that makes a difference. Cables make a difference. What you set the components on makes a difference. That's why people experiment so much. I use, I don't know if you can see it here under the thorns, this is a bamboo, an $8 bamboo chopping board from IKEA. I have these under the Tascam CD player, because they're very lightweight and they're very sturdy, and butcher block, because you're cross layers, sort of cancels out a certain amount of resonance. But anyway, this is a great system. I mean, you can even go lower than this. You can get Riga makes a wonderful little integrated amplifier for I think $800 with the phono stage. It's not as strong or powerful as this, but it is more resolving, a little crisper sounding. $279 for these ELAC B6. You cannot beat this. These are a wonderful speaker for that money. I mean, and you can also get into the whole vintage realm. I do a column for Stereophile called Musicians as Audiophiles. I've interviewed everyone from Ron Carter to John Abair to Billy Drummond to Paul Wells, all sorts of local jazz musicians in New York City, and many of them are into vintage gear. And it's amazing to see these guys. They do their homework, and they buy Fisher gear or old audio research. There's just so many avenues, and the great thing about high-end audio gear, it lasts. That stuff was built to last. It's still built to last. This CD player has been through like 3 girlfriends for me, and it works beautifully. And Cambridge Audio, if you're going to buy new, Cambridge Audio is a great budget brand. NAD, still a really good budget brand. ELAC makes a line of speakers that aren't too expensive. They also make very expensive speakers. But I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are about this. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get high end. I mean, Steve Guttenberg is the master over at his Audiophile channel of spending even lower money. I mean, he's got some sort of a Dayton amplifier that's like $200. But if you want to hear more of what's on the record, or the CD. If you want to hear more of what the engineer intended, the producer, the musicians, the sound they heard when they made that recording for you, you have to spend a little money to really hear it. And I think you'll be paid dividends in that. And I also think once you catch the bug, you sort of get into it. And there is a danger of getting audiophile nervosa or upgrade fever, where you have to constantly upgrade. You're never satisfied. That's a really bad place to be. And in that regard, you can be happy with the most minimal system if you just kind of relax. The only downside of some cheaper gear is sometimes cheaper digital gear can have what I call digititis. It can create ear fatigue, where your ears will hurt, because early digital players, like the very first CD players, were really horrible. The consumer version. The very first CD players for professional purposes are pretty great. I have some Denon PCM classical recordings that are absolutely wonderful. But you know, if you shop wisely, you know, you can find used gear on eBay. There's a site called audiogon.com, AUDIOGON. They're much more expensive to trade and sell on than they were back in the 90s, but it's still a great site. You can find great gear on Craigslist. You know, there are all sorts of speakers. Let me show you these speakers I just got at a kind of a yard sale. My friend Mike Trey and I heard about this Columbia Records engineer who had died on the Upper East Side, and was liquidating everything he had, or he wasn't, but the people were. And I found this pair of KLH Model 15 loudspeakers. These are some of the original high-end audio loudspeakers from, I believe, the late 1950s. I mean, look at this. This is like telephone cord. It doesn't weigh anything. I haven't hooked it up yet, but I think it looks pretty damn cool. That is a true bookshelf speaker. The grill doesn't come off, but and I paid, let me see, I got these two speakers. I got a Shure RE15. I got about 200 records. A Fairchild tone arm, which Fairchild was the company that made the very first stereo cartridges, as well as a compressor limiter that is highly sought after now. I paid like 300 bucks for all this stuff and some more stuff, a box full of cartridges. And so I paid, like, you know, the microphone will more than cover the cost of what I paid for all this stuff. So if you keep your eyes open, if you do a little homework, Craigslist, eBay, Audiogon, you can find good vintage gear. You know, there's still a lot of NAD, I believe it's 1020 integrated amps floating around in the 70s. That was the hallmark. You know, in the 70s, you wanted a good playback system. It meant a lot. I used to pore over the Stereo Warehouse catalog from California. So, long story short, you can get good, solid, entry-level, high-end gear for not a lot of money. Would you rather spend it on a new phone? Would you rather spend it on a new watch? If you're an older dude, you want to spend it on cigars or a car? I mean, what matters to you? To me, not many things in life will give you the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the payback that your favorite music will. And that's my rant for today, folks. Thanks for checking in.